The woman just wanted to eat a fruit, but was heartlessly abandoned by her fiancé and collectively isolated by all the females. A woman intent on dying jumps off a cliff and is saved. But who would have thought the dragon beast that rescued her is actually the clan leader's son, separated for many years. Not only does he just want every day to sticking close to her in all sorts of ways and still the wild spokesperson for Shanxi aged vinegar. Bang, the splash resounds and Xiangqiu choked a few mouthfuls of water, but inside, she felt somewhat disappointed. Below was actually water. She flusteredly adjusted her posture and soon surfaced above the water. After her breathing smoothed out from swimming, she looked up and around, only to see a vast expanse of water with her alone breaking the surface. Not far away, an aquatic predator was rapidly approaching. Unlocked a new way to die, Xiangqiu smiled bitterly, watching the crocodile-like creature emerge from the water, its dense rows of teeth making her shudder all over. She kicked off her animal hide shoes and desperately swam in the opposite direction. Suddenly, a black shadow swept past, and she, terrified, closed her eyes, waiting for death to arrive, yet the pain never came. Instead, she was lifted into the air. The cheek touched a cold sensation. She opened her eyes and looked, only to see an unfamiliar male beastman. Xiangqiu was carried flying. For a long time, until that riverbank appeared, she was set down. She stood barefoot on the grass, the damp beast skin pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. Bai Qi examined her, his deep voice carrying a trace of gentleness. Where did you fall from? I can send you back. Xiangqiu twisted the water from the beast skin, saying coldly, thank you. I can go back by myself. Bai Qi frowned. There are no tribes around. It's too dangerous for you alone. Xiangqiu walked towards another direction without looking back. The thorns on the soles of her feet made her stagger. Bai Qi caught up, handed her two pieces of animal skin. Bind them on your feet. Xiangqiu stopped, her tone icy. Thank you. But I don't need it. I don't know you, and I don't hope any annoying males following. Bai Qi's brows furrowed, his voice turned cold. The forest is not a place for you to fool around. How did your parents educate you? Xiangqiu sneered. What's it to you? Mind your own business. After saying that, she stubbornly walked into the forest. She walked barefoot through the jungle. Her feet were scratched by tree branches until they bled. The animal skin on her body was damp and heavy. Lost, she simply leaned against a big tree, looked up at the sky. Her thoughts returned to the day she jumped off the cliff. If I weren't willful, Sister Xiangchun would still be my sister. If I weren't stupid, the company wouldn't have almost gone bankrupt and father wouldn't have been angered into the hospital. Xiangqiu closed her eyes. Tears fell. I am really my parents' calamity. Shouldn't live in this world. She leaned against the tree. Let the tears of remorse flow as if to wash away all the pain. Xiangqiu whispered softly. Xiangchun, you made me jump off the cliff. I don't blame you. It's my fault. I really should disappear. Hope you can forgive Mom and Dad. They only have you left. Remembering the goodness of her parents, she finally couldn't help but bury her face in her knees, crying bitterly. Bai Qi, hiding not far away, saw all of this. His hearing is extremely sharp, but he couldn't understand what she was saying. A flash of complexity passed through his eyes. Suddenly, his pupils contracted towards Qiu's head. On the branch, a finger-thick poisonous snake was slowly descending. She was immersed in sadness and completely unaware. Bai Qi quickly acted, pinched the snake to death and threw it aside. Qiu was startled by the movement above her head, looked up and saw Bai Qi holding the dead snake. Frightened, she quickly wiped her tears and stood up, cautiously looking around. Bai Qi didn't say a word, directly carried her on his shoulder and flew away. Let me go. Where are you taking me? Xiangqiu struggled. Even bit his arm. Bai Qi frowned, single-handedly restrained her. With the other hand, through the animal hide, he pinched her buttocks not too lightly or heavily, and said in a deep voice, behave. Xiangqiu's whole body stiffened, looked up and met his fierce eyes. Deep in his pupils, as if hiding bloodthirsty killing intent, she shrank back, not daring to move again. Bai Qi took her and flew to the front of a cave, put her down and went in alone to clean up. Not long after, he dragged out a beast corpse similar to a dinosaur, threw it in front of her. Xiangqiu retreated a few steps. The smell of blood made her nauseous. Wait here. Bai Qi finished speaking and continued cleaning the cave. Xiangqiu sat on a stone not far away, lost in thought, her gaze fixed on the cliff at the edge of the cave. My name is Bai Qi. He walked over, his eyes much calmer. Xiangqiu pursed her lips. Why did you have to save me? You're a female. Any male wouldn't leave you in danger, but I didn't need you to save me. I have no tribe. I just want to return to the beast god's embrace. Bai Qi frowned. Why do you want to die? You're still young. The beast god does not welcome beastmen who do not cherish life. Xiangqiu helplessly glanced at the sky. It's getting dark. Go deal with the prey. We'll talk more after eating. Bai Qi gave her a deep look, picked up the prey and flew away. Xiangqiu let out a sigh of relief. After he left, she slowly walked to the edge of the cliff and closed her eyes. Suddenly, a loud noise sounded in her ears. She opened her eyes and saw Bai Qi glaring at her angrily. She had long guessed his intention, so he purposely hadn't flown far. Bai Qi didn't say anything more. He tied her hands and feet with vines, threw her into the cave, and even blocked the cave entrance with stones. Xiangqiu was tied up and couldn't move. Feeling helpless in her heart, I really will die. And at this time, the gathering team had already erupted into chaos. The female in charge, King Amo, was filled with anger, mercilessly scolding the beastmen of the guard team. People, you have made me too disappointed, not even able to protect a single female. Where is Xiangqiu? When did she disappear? The beastmen of the guard team hung their heads, their faces filled with self-blame. By the time they returned to the tribe, many clansmen had already gathered in the square. The clan chief Bok frowned and asked, "Why have you returned so late, King?" Amo lowered his head in self-blame. "Chief, Xiangqiu is missing." The beastmen of the guard team quickly stepped forward. "Please, punish us, Chief. It was our failure to protect the female." The square erupted in an uproar. Clan Chief Bok's eyes turned cold and sharp. Without encountering an attack, a guard team couldn't even protect one female. "You are really something." King Amo blamed himself the most, as he was the closest with Xiangqiu's mother. And now he had even lost her daughter. Bok kicked over the guard team's little captain, his authoritative gaze sweeping over everyone. "Those who do wrong must accept punishment. You are hereby punished to participate in hunting for 3 consecutive days without receiving any share of the prey." "Yes, Chief," the beastmen of the guard team responded in unison. Some clansmen prayed that they could find her, while others secretly hoped Xiangqiu would never return. At the same time, in a cave halfway up the mountain, Xiangqiu finally had the vines untied from her. The cave was filled with a fragrant aroma. Bai Qi tore off a piece of roasted tender meat, placed it on a clean leaf and brought it before her. "Eat." Xiangqiu looked at the nearly tajin of roasted meat before her. Silently shaking her head, Bai Qi stood in front of her, his gaze dark and fixed on her. Xiangqiu felt immense pressure. The beastman before her stood nearly 2 meters tall with a robust build, planted right in front of her. Exuding overwhelming pressure, Bai Qi spoke again, his voice low. "Eat, or do you want me to chew it up and feed you?" Xiangqiu lifted her head to glance at him, then quickly turned her face away. She didn't believe the beastmen would actually do that. But the two were at a stalemate, one staring down at the ground, the other looking down at the top of her head. The cave was filled only with the sizzling sound of roasting meat. Seeing her unmoving, Bai Qi picked up the roasted meat and took a bite, chewing as if preparing to feed her. Xiangqiu finally couldn't hold back. "We're not related or even acquainted. Can't you just leave me alone?" "No." Bai Qi swallowed the meat in his mouth, glanced at her warningly, then turned around to continue eating his own roasted meat. Xiangqiu glared resentfully at his back, helplessly picked up a leaf, took a bite of the roasted meat, chewed twice and found it unexpectedly fragrant. She then began eating it in small bites. Bai Qi sat with his back to her, in front of the fire, tearing at the half-raw beast meat. His movements rugged yet somehow appetizing. Xiangqiu stared blankly, only looking away calmly when Bai Qi turned his head. Of the nearly tajin of roasted meat, Xiangqiu had eaten only a small portion. Bai Qi wrapped up the remainder. "Signal her to come over and wash up and sleep." "I don't need to." Xiangqiu refused. She ate on leaves, her hands didn't get oily and she didn't want to go down with him. Bai Qi didn't insist and went alone to the river to wash up. Before leaving, he blocked the cave entrance with a stone. Xiangqiu stared at that stone, worried in her heart. She couldn't push it open. In the cave, there was only a large stone slab and she didn't know if something had slept on it. Ugly creatures. The animal skin on her body wasn't dry yet. Her feet were both painful and itchy. She hugged herself and squatted in the darkness like a pitiful worm, having lived in luxury for 20 years. Now she ended up in such a state. Could this be heaven's punishment? No. After who knows how long, the stone at the cave entrance was moved away. Bai Qi came in holding a bamboo tube and green plants. Seeing her squatting on the ground, his black pupils flashed. He handed over the bamboo tube. "Drink water." Xiangqiu took the bamboo tube and said softly, "Thank you." After drinking, To mouthfuls, her throat felt much better. Bai Qi squatted down and poured the remaining water on her feet. To clean the wound, Xiangqiu startled and retracted her foot. Don't move. Bai Qi held her foot. If not, clean tonight, tomorrow it will. Be more serious, Xiangqiu said, embarrassedly. I'll do it myself. Bai Qi handed the herbal medicine. Chew it and apply it. It will heal quickly. Xiangqiu took the herbal medicine, put it in her mouth and chewed. The bitter taste made him furrow his brows, but after applying it, his feet immediately felt much cooler and the pain and itching disappeared. Bai Qi stood up, gathered some dry grass and spread it on the stone slab. You sleep here tonight. Xiangqiu didn't make a fuss and sat over there. Bai Qi, however, showed no intention of leaving, asking him, what's your name? Which tribe's female are you from? Why did you want to give up on life? Xiangqiu replied softly, I have no tribe, the rest is none of your business. Bai Qi's brows tightened. He was just about to start lecturing him on the preciousness of life when he was interrupted. I'm tired, you should go to sleep too. Bai Qi had no choice, sighing inwardly. Females are all so hard to handle. He stared at his indifferent face, growing even more determined to dig out his secrets. You still haven't told me your name. Xiangqiu suppressed his annoyance and said curtly, Xiangqiu, if you're going to sleep on the stone slab, I'll go outside. Bai Qi grabbed him by the arm. No, you stay. I'll go outside. Standing outside the cave, Bai Qi felt the cool breeze, his heart filled with frustration. Apart from a name, he had gained nothing. He sat on a rock, concentrating on listening for any movement inside the cave only. After confirming Xiangqiu's breathing was steady, did he stand up and fly into the distance? At dawn, Xiangqiu's face was flushed, his breathing heavy. He opened his heavy eyelids, thinking to himself, not good, I have a fever. Bai Qi returned carrying a leather bundle, saw his condition wasn't right, and immediately reached out to feel his forehead. What will cause a fever? Xiangqiu was feeling dizzy and soon fainted. Bai Qi panicked and quickly used a damp animal hide to help cool him down. He was dismayed to find that his animal hide clothing still carried a moldy smell. Last night's drenched clothes weren't dried in time. No wonder he fell ill. He frantically rummaged out a fluffy animal hide blanket, just about to cover him with it when he caught a whiff of a musty odor. Bai Qi's heart sank. This is bad. It was my negligence. Bai Qi was extremely conflicted. He stared at Xiangqiu's damp animal hide clothes, struggling inwardly to undress him or not. In the end, he closed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and haphazardly stripped off his clothes, quickly covering him with the animal hide blanket. He silently vowed in his heart, once he recovers, I will form a bond with him. When Xiangqiu woke up, it was already afternoon. A cold sweat seeped from his forehead. His throat was dry as if on fire. Bai Qi handed over a bamboo tube. Drink some warm water. He struggled to sit up but felt utterly weak. Bai Qi, seeing this, brought the bamboo tube to his lips, his wrist lifting slightly, allowing him to drink smoothly. Would you like some roasted meat? Bai Qi asked. Xiangqiu shook his head. No appetite. Then eat some fruit. He offered a greenish red wild fruit. This is a red fruit, sweet and sour. Xiangqiu took the fruit, moistening his chapped lips, and said softly, thank you. He looked up at him, his resolute face filled with concern, his chest muscles firm and strong, exactly the type he liked. However, when he lifted the blanket, his face instantly turned from pale to crimson. He glared at him furiously and in a fluster. Bai Qi, feeling guilty, explained, your animal hide clothes have gone moldy. I couldn't wake you. I had no choice. Xiangqiu gritted his teeth. Are there any extra animal hide clothes? Only hides? Yours are being washed. They won't be dry until tomorrow. Then what should I do when I go to the toilet? I can't exactly go naked. Toilet. Bai Qi looked utterly confused. To relieve myself. Xiangqiu, too embarrassed and annoyed to say it outright. I can carry you out. Bai Qi suddenly understood. Don't even think about taking advantage of me. Xiangqiu grabbed a red fruit and threw it at him. Bai Qi caught the fruit and said helplessly, I'll just get you an animal hide to wrap around yourself. I won't look. Xiangqiu's face flushed red. So angry he gritted his teeth. Give me the hide. You get out. Bai Qi turned around, rummaged out an animal hide, tossed it to him from a distance, then quickly left. Xiangqiu wrapped himself in the hide inwardly, cursing this damned beastman, not sure what animal's fur it was. It wrapped around his body like a towel, the length reaching just above the knees, and he still had to hold it tight with his hand. When nature calls, no matter how embarrassing, it has to be taken care of. Xiangqiu checked that nothing was exposed, stepped barefoot onto the stone slab bed, and the moment his feet touched the ground, he gasped in pain. From walking barefoot to long yesterday, blisters had formed on his soles. What's wrong? Hearing the noise, Bai Qi rushed into the cave, and when his gaze landed on him, his throat unconsciously moved. Qiangqi's face black, really unlucky to the extreme. Fur leather shoes, thank you. Not wearing shoes makes walking completely impossible. Bai Qi struggled to avert his gaze, turned around to get the shoes. The curve raised under the fur skirt exposed his earlier thoughts. Fortunately, Qiangqi didn't notice. He bent down to pull out two pieces of fur leather shoes. They were called shoes, but they were really just two pieces of leather strung together with grass rope, barely able to be tied to the feet. Beastmen all wore them like this. Bai Qi hardly straightened his back, strode to steps to stand before him, crouched down to put the shoes on him. Qiangqi's heart was in turmoil. Shame, annoyance, and embarrassment all surged up. He wanted to put them on himself, but if he attended to the bottom, he couldn't attend to the top. Only awkwardly letting him help. From childhood to adulthood, he hadn't even had a boyfriend, let alone been in such close contact with someone of the opposite sex. Yet here, it's not just that he was seen completely naked, but also who allowed him to get so close. After putting on the shoes, Bai Qi directly carried him to the excretory area and without waiting for his reaction, turned and left. Qiangqi's face darkened, carefully stepping onto the newly modified outhouse. Damn it, there's not even toilet paper. Could only comfort himself. Conditions are limited, make do. Bai Qi appeared on time and carried him back again. Qiangqi's heart tightened. Could he have been peeping all along? Little did he know. The beastman's hearing didn't require looking. After a moment of tense atmosphere, Bai Qi finally spoke to Qiangqi. I'll be your male. Qiangqi, who was nibbling on red fruit, choked in an instant, his face instantly turning purple. Bai Qi was greatly alarmed and hurried forward to pat his back. Qiangqi was almost beaten to death, finally spitting out the fruit. Eat a bit slower. Why are you like a cub? Bai Qi frowned. Qiangqi rolled his eyes. This is all your fault. What did I do? Think about what you just said. Don't look. The animal's skin had loosened at some point. Qiangqi fumbled to pull it up and glared at him angrily. You pervert. Bai Qi rubbed his nose, his expression sincere. I'm serious. Be my female. Impossible. Qiangqi said decisively. Bai Qi, undiscouraged, instead said with certainty. You'll agree. Qiangqi sneered. I said impossible means impossible. To tell you the truth, I might just kill myself someday. You can't stop me. Give up. Qiangqi snorted coldly. I might just kill myself someday. You can't stop me. Hearing these words, Bai Qi's face immediately darkened. Don't talk about suicide again. The beast God gave us life. If you don't cherish it, the beast God will punish you. Qiangqi disdainfully uttered. A time traveler from Waxia. What does he fear from the beast God? But Bai Qi kept staring at him with a pressuring gaze, staring until Qiangqi's hair stood on end, uncomfortably covering up chest, face showing a painful expression. Only then did Bai Qi remember that he was still sick and hurriedly picked up Qiangqi, placing him on the haystack. You rest first. I'll go find medicine for you. Qiangqi gave a miserable smile. I have no tribe and no family anymore. This world only has me left, so don't bother with me. All I want now is to reunite with my family. A flash of heartache passed through Bai Qi's eyes. He tightly grasped Qiangqi's hand and said earnestly, Little female, from now on you follow me. With me protecting you, no one can bully you. Bai Qi seriously promised. Once your body recovers, you'll come back to the tribe with me. We'll hold a mating ceremony, and from then on we'll live together. Qiangqi was stunned. I was telling him my reasons for being weary of the world, and instead he's proposing to me. What kind of joke is this? Qiangqi forcefully pulled his hand back. I have no such intention. I don't like you either. Please stay away from me. Thank you. Bai Qi helplessly sighed. He wasn't good with sweet talk and could only use actions to show his. Before going out, he prepared plenty of clean water, fruits, and meat, and even built a crude toilet in the cave. Qiangqi shouted fiercely, Hey, what exactly are you doing? This fever of his was too so severe he felt lying there for 2 more days could achieve the goal of suicide. Bai Qi finished packing up. He felt his forehead. The high fever still hadn't subsided. They couldn't delay any longer. He leaned down, leaving a kiss on Qiangqi's forehead. I'll be back soon. Before Qiangqi could even get the words out, Bai Qi had already dashed out of the cave, even moving a large stone to block the entrance. Qiangqi angrily pounded on the stone slab. He was this sick, and yet Bai Qi was still guarding against him running out to commit suicide in the middle of the night. In a dazed, half-asleep state, Xiangqiu saw a faint, illusory figure. I did something wrong. Both father and mother died because of me, and my relationship with the clan isn't good either. I regret it, Xiangqiu. Please live well for me. Get along peacefully with the clan. The illusory figure waved its hand, gradually fading away. Xiangqiu panicked and shouted, "Who gave you the right to dump this mess on me? I don't want it. Come back." The figure turned, its mouth opening and closing. Xiangqiu only caught the last 5 words. Live well. Immediately after, a refreshing, delightful taste spread in his mouth and his body instinctively began to swallow. Xiangqiu opened his eyes. Bai Qi said with delighted surprise. You're finally awake. Xiangqiu hadn't yet processed it. When did you get back? He smelled a very strong, pungent scent of blood. Are you injured? He regretted saying it as soon as the words left his mouth. What did this have to do with him? Bai Qi shook his head. I found snow crystal fruit. You'll be fine once you eat it. Bai Qi held out his hand. These 2 crystal clear fruits were handed to him. The original owner's father died precisely because he went to pick snow crystal fruit, it is said. This fruit rivals divine elixirs and miraculous medicines. It can not only increase the pregnancy rate of females, but also strengthen the body and improve health. However, picking it is extremely dangerous. Who would have thought that what the original owner had been longing for but never got to eat was instead seen as to pieces by him, an outsider? I don't want them. Someone destined to die sooner or later. Eating this would be too wasteful. Bai Qi grew somewhat angry upon hearing these words, and his tone couldn't help but become a few degrees sterner. Xiangqiu, don't be willful anymore. Your physical health is most important. Hearing this, Xiangqiu turned his head away, not wanting the beastman to see his reddening eyes. With a slightly trembling voice he said, I know, but I've already given up on myself. Don't waste your time on me anymore. I'm not worth it. He wasn't made of stone. The other's repeated kindness was becoming more than he could bear. He didn't dare to continue getting closer, afraid that when the time came, he would find it too hard to leave. Bai Qi looked at him with a dark face, stating in a tone that brooked no argument, you are worth it. Even if you were alone before, you are now my female. If you have such thoughts again in the future, I'll… Xiangqiu stubbornly shook his head. What will you do? Bai Qi's face darkened the moment he returned. Seeing the female lying there with a faint, weak breath, he almost thought that came back late. Luckily, everything was still in time. Seeing him still dawdling, Bai Qi directly took a bite himself and sent it into his mouth. Xiangqiu was caught off guard by the sudden attack and immediately opened his eyes wide, wanting to push him away, but both hands were too weak to push and could only be forced to swallow the snow crystal. Fruit would scatter as soon as the tongue pressed down. The familiar sweetness flowed into his throat and his spirit grew clearer. But Bai Qi seemed to quite enjoy this process. Even after the fruit was swallowed, he didn't pull away, waiting until there was no more taste of the snow crystal fruit in his mouth. Xiangqiu punched him in the chest. You've gone too far. Bai Qi didn't feel any pain at all, but instead looked at him with a smile. I like seeing you full of energy and vitality. Seeing that he was about to feed him again, Xiangqiu hurriedly grabbed it and ate it himself. 3 snow crystal fruits went down his stomach one after another, and instantly he felt his head was no longer dizzy. His mind was clear, except his stomach started growling loudly. Seeing this, Bai Qi was delighted and hurried to bring the rainbow feather bird meat for him to eat. Xiangqiu also couldn't care less about the meat being cold. He took it and started eating in big mouthfuls. After eating 2 whole roasted rainbow feather birds and drinking a bamboo tube of water, did he finally feel something in his stomach. Only after finishing did he notice someone had been staring at him the whole time he was eating. Xiangqiu's face turned oddly red. Why have you been staring at me? Do I have a flower on my face? Bai Qi instinctively said, there's no flower on your face, but you are more beautiful than a flower. Xiangqiu turned his head away, muttering in his heart, this primitive beastman is really good at flirting. Give me my animal hide clothes. I want to go out for a walk. He avoided Bai Qi's fiery gaze. Bai Qi got up to fetch the sun-dried animal hide clothes. Xiangqiu took the clothes and gave a meaningful look. Bai Qi tactfully stepped outside the cave. He put on the clothes and walked out of the cave. The sunlight fell on his body and suddenly his heart felt empty, as if he no longer had the courage to die. Bai Qi watched him tilt his head back to bask in the sunlight, his heartbeat quickening, as if seeing a delicate, vibrant flower shaking off the soil. His Adam's apple moved. Where do you want to go? I'll take you for a stroll. Xiangqiu came back To his senses, his gaze drifting into the distance, picking snow crystal fruit is very dangerous. Right. My father died for it, my mother is gone too. My fiancé abandoned me, and I'm a disliked female in the tribe. He paused. You deserve better, not someone like me. Bai Chi frowned slightly, wrapped his arms around him tightly. His voice low. I think you are wonderful no matter what your past was like. The you now is wonderful. Xiang Qiu was silent for a moment. Ripples stirring in his heart. In this world, besides his parents, no one had ever treated him sincerely, but this beastman before him had remained constant. Bai Qi's tone was firm. You still have me, I will make sure you have a better life. Xiang Qiu looked up at him. His tall figure blocked the sunlight, yet it seemed to have become the light in his heart. He lowered his gaze and whispered softly, thank you for saving me. Let me go, but I still don't want to look for a male beastman. After saying this, he retreated from his embrace. Bai Qi was pushed away by him, which made his heart itch. Knowing he couldn't rush it, he had no choice but to loosen his grip. Xiang Qiu pointed at the monster corpse in the distance. What is that, a monster? Bai Qi glanced at it. These two were guarding by the snow crystal fruit, and I took care of them. Xiang Qiu's heart shook. This guy really is strong. You're amazing, he said sincerely. The corner of Bai Qi's mouth lifted slightly. Of course. Your male is very strong, believe me. Xiang Qiu held his forehead. Here we go again. He sighed. I want to go wash my face at the river. Take me flying there. Wherever you want to go. Bai Qi readily agreed. When they reached the river bank, Xiang Qiu pointed at a big tree in the distance. I want to take a bath. You wait for me on that tree. Bai Qi frowned. That's too far. What if there's danger? Xiang Qiu interrupted him. Didn't you say there's no danger by the river? Bai Qi looked at the distance and reluctantly agreed. Fine. He didn't understand why he was so insistent. But a female's mind is hard to guess. Anyway, Xiang Qiu breathed a sigh of relief, but secretly thought to himself, this primitive world doesn't even have a decent piece of clothing. It's really enough. Bai Qi obediently walked over to the tree, sitting down with his back to the riverbank. However, Xiang Qiu didn't know that the distance he considered safe was nothing over as close at hand. He confidently took off the animal skin, stepped into the cool river water, scrubbing his body until every inch his skin was clean and fresh as new. He was completely unaware that under the tree, Bai Qi had long been watching with his blood racing and his nose bleeding. Thrice. In the evening, Xiang Qiu sat on a stone outside the cave. Bai Qi handed him a piece of exotic beast meat, roasted crispy on the outside and tender inside. Yet he only took it indifferently. Bai Qi, what race are you from? Xiang Qiu suddenly asked. A hint of curiosity in his eyes, a flicker of amusement passed through Bai Qi's eyes. You want to see my true form? Xiang Qiu shot him an irritated glare. No. I'm just curious how you can eat so much. Bai Qi chuckled lightly. Guess? Xiang Qiu rolled his eyes. Suit yourself. Seeing this, Bai Qi quickly frowned. I am a dragon beast. There was no such race in the original host's memories, Bai Qi explained. Dragon beasts are scarce and small. Tribes rarely know of our existence. Xiang Qiu nodded, but secretly muttered to himself, no wonder he is so strong. The night wind blew and Xiang Qiu shivered. Bai Qi immediately suggested, the nights of white moon season are a bit chilly. Let us go into the cave. Xiang Qiu did not refuse, following him into the cave. Bai Qi, which tribe are you from? Why haven't you gone back yet? Xiang Qiu asked. I am from the warrior tribe. Out looking for my father. Bai Qi's voice was calm, yet carried a hint of barely detectable loneliness. Your father? Xiang Qiu frowned. He abandoned you and left. Bai Qi nodded. After my mother passed away, he left the tribe. I heard someone had seen him here, so I came out to look. Xiang Qiu couldn't help but complain. That's really irresponsible. Bai Qi, however, smiled. I have uncle taking care of me. I've been living quite well this time. Coming out, it's mainly to see if I can find him. Xiang Qiu fell silent for a moment, then suddenly realized something. So meeting me was an accident. Bai Qi looked at him, a flicker of tenderness in his eyes. Yes, meeting you was my greatest surprise. Xiang Qiu turned his head away, feeling somewhat complicated inside. Xiang Qiu, you should sleep, Bai Qi reminded. Softly, he glanced at the empty cave and asked, then, where will you sleep? Bai Qi said matter-of-factly, I'll guard outside the cave. Xiang Qiu hesitated for a down. It's cold outside. How about you come in and sleep on the floor? Bai Qi's eyes light up. You mean we sleep together? Don't think too much. Xiang Qiu immediately cuts him off. Sleeping on the floor. Bai Qi disappointedly goes but still obediently brings over dry grass, spreading it beside the stone slab bed. After lying down, Xiangqiu finds Bai Qi too close and can't help but sit up. Don't get so close. Bai Qi looks innocent. Not close. You're on top, I'm below. In case you fall, I can catch you. Xiangqiu rolls her eyes in exasperation. I sleep very still. I won't fall. Xiangqiu helplessly turns over but inexplicably feels a bit reassured inside. Really? Then I'll lie below to block the wind for you. As Bai Qi speaks, he efficiently lays out the dry grass and moves a few stones to block the cave entrance, barely blocking most of the wind. After lying down, he opens those sparkling black eyes, staring straight at her. Xiangqiu's mouth twitches, cursing inwardly. What's this big guy trying to sell? With cuteness, pretending to be Hello Kitty when he's clearly a fierce tiger in cat's clothing. She turns her back to him, trying hard to ignore that scorching gaze. But it feels almost tangible, pricking her back until it burns. Too excessive, Xiangqiu roars in her heart. A country bumpkin orc who's never seen a woman. Do you even know the ways of the world? She finally couldn't bear it anymore and suddenly sat up. Have you seen enough? Bai Qi looked innocent. Xiangqiu, I'm an adult. So what? Her eyes were as cold as ice. He pointed grievously at his own animal skin skirt. You are my female. I can't control myself. Xiangqiu's face darkened. Control. If you can't control, then go out. Back to back. Don't look at each other. Can you do it? Okay. Bai Qi turned around reluctantly but muttered in his heart. A qualified male wouldn't go against a female. Xiangqiu saw that he was honest, then lay back, perhaps because someone was accompanying her. She actually slept exceptionally soundly. However, as soon as day broke, the cave echoed with a scream. Xiangqiu, holding the animal skin blanket, glared angrily at Bai Qi. Bai Qi looked innocent. You fell down yourself. I just conveniently caught you with a handy motion. Xiangqiu kept a straight face, cursing shamelessly in her heart. This guy secretly carried her down in the middle of the night. Under Bai Qi's guilty gaze, she gritted her teeth. Bai Qi hurriedly soothed. No more mischief. I'll go get some branches. Build a rack. Xiangqiu didn't understand. Build a rack for what? Bai Qi smiled and said, to dry animal skins. You only have one animal skin. I want to make you a few more. Xiangqiu felt a pang in her heart, but asked stiffly, can you still make clothes? Bai Qi scratched his head a little bit. But first I need to sharpen the bone needles and then catch a few prey with good fur. Today we'll tidy up the cave first and prepare tomorrow. Xiangqiu felt a mix of emotions. After hesitating for a moment, she still asked, why are you so good to me? Bai Qi shook his head. You are my female. I haven't done enough yet. But I haven't agreed to be your female yet. He smiled like a youthful sunny boy. You will agree. I'll prove it to you. I am a reliable male. Xiangqiu opened her mouth, wanting to say I will leave, but the words reached her lips and were swallowed back. She wasn't sure if she still had the courage to commit suicide. Seeing her silence, Bai Qi stood up and said, wait here, I'll go find some branches. Xiangqiu nodded silently, watching him leap up into the big tree forcefully, snapping off several thick branches. How do we take these away? She walked over and asked. Bai Qi patted the dirt off his hands. I'll transform into my beast form and carry them. She couldn't help but be curious. Beast form? What does the dragon beast look like? Could it be the five-clawed divine dragon from Chinese mythology? Bai Qi smiled. Step back a bit. Xiangqiu retreated a few steps, thinking to herself, is the beast form really that big? The next second, the sunlight was completely blocked and a huge black creature stood before her, the tip of its scale-covered tail right in front of her feet, completely different from what she had imagined. It was entirely pitch black. Scales for sharp claws to long horns on its head. Around its mouth are tough scales. Its large, lantern-like black pupils are gazing at her expectantly. Xiangqiu froze, as if looking into a full-length mirror, the pair of wings on her back spreading out, blocking out the sky and sun. As if the entire world had been swallowed by darkness, the dragon beast landed on all fours. Standing 5 meters tall, nearly 10 meters long, it was the largest beast form Xiangqiu had ever seen. No wonder this creature could eat so much in one meal. Xiangqiu, come up, the dragon beast's deep voice rumbled. Like thunder, Xiangqiu looked up at the smooth scales, feeling a chill in her heart. I can't get up, the dragon beast chuckled softly. Its tail flicked, lifting her up, and the next moment, she was seated on the cold scales. Bai Qi, I have nothing to hold onto. Will I fall? Her voice was filled with tension. It's fine if you're scared. Climb to my head and hold onto my horns, Bai Qi reassured her. Xiangqiu carefully climbed upward, her hands gripping the thick dragon horns, but her heart grew even more panicked. This is literally flying without a safety belt. Don't move. She screamed. Bai Qi had just shaken his head, nearly making her let go. Hold tight, and you won't fall. Bai Qi steadied his posture. Let's go quickly, Xiang Qiu urged. Every extra second felt like agony. Bai Qi grabbed the branch, flapped his wings. In an instant, they flew far away. Xiang Qiu's hair was wildly tossed by the wind, slapping painfully against her face, making her grit her teeth. This dragon riding experience was extremely poor. By the time they returned to the cave, her legs were cramping. Bai Qi transformed back into human form, catching the completely stiff Xiang Qiu and said helplessly, "Why are you so scared? What will you do in the future? I won't ride on your back anymore." Xiang Qiu's tongue could barely straighten out. "No, you are my female. From now on, you can only ride on my back." Bai Qi's tone was firm. Xiang Qiu was taken aback, suddenly remembering that the original owner had ridden on other beastmen's backs before. She deliberately provoked, "Sorry, but before you, I've ridden on someone else's back." "Who?" Bai Qi's eyes turned cold, as if he was about to go catch someone the next second. "A suitor from the previous tribe." Before Xiang Qiu could finish, Bai Qi suddenly lunged over and kissed her. After a long while, Xiang Qiu covered her aching mouth and glared at him angrily. "What's wrong with you?" Bai Qi wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth, narrowed his eyes and said, "From now on, you can only have me as your male. Don't even think about others." "Did I agree to that? This is sexual harassment." Xiang Qiu was so angry she glared straight at him. Bai Qi's tone was forceful. "No." Xiang Qiu did not back down. "Who are you to control me? Maybe one day I'll meet someone stronger than you. And of course I'll choose the stronger one." Bai Qi's eyes darkened. "No one is stronger. I am stronger. Who dares to think of you? Come one, I'll kill one." Xiang Qiu was shaken by his killing intent and retreated to steps, whispering, said, "Why are you so overbearing? I am not your property." Bai Qi took a step closer. "You are mine. Don't say things that make me angry anymore. I will be unhappy." Xiang Qiu glared back without fear. "Then you don't care if I'm happy or not?" Bai Qi stared at her, thinking about how to tame this wild-hearted female. She looked firm. "As long as you are marked with my scent, other males won't dare to have designs on you." "What the hell?" Xiang Qiu widened her eyes. "Are you sick? Don't come over." Her heart tightened with a bad premonition. This guy shouldn't be thinking of that, right? The beastman forcibly carried her back to the cave, ignoring her struggles until her whole body was stained with his scent. Only then did he let go with satisfaction. Xiang Qiu's eyes almost spurt fire, although it didn't come to the last step. But this, what difference is there from complete possession? She trembled with anger, turning her back to him, her heart in turmoil. Bai Qi stood behind her, his gaze calm. He could tolerate all her little temper tantrums, but absolutely could not tolerate her disloyalty, even if it was only spiritual betrayal. Xiang Qiu was just mentioning it casually, but didn't think she would pay such a price. "I am not pure anymore." She covered her face, her heart in a mess, although she had seen some small porn comics, but it's the first time experiencing the real deal. Beastmen are actually very gentle, but they've only known each other for a few days. How can it be like this? She irritably grabbed her hair, her mind a complete mess. Could she really spend her whole life in this primitive world? No house, no safety, no civilization, not even a decent piece of clothing. She didn't know how to face Bai Qi anymore. Outside the cave, Bai Qi was sitting on a rock roasting meat. Seeing her come out, he immediately put on an ingratiating smile. "Xiang Qiu, I caught two clucker beasts for you and found a nest of eggs. Do you like them?" Xiang Qiu ignored him, her gaze falling on the clucker beasts roasting over the fire. Those creatures were twice the size of chickens on Earth. The egg next to it was also unreasonably large. She swallowed her saliva. Her stomach growled quite disappointingly. "Xiang Qiu," Bai Qi called out again. He uttered a sound, yet she still paid him no mind. Her gaze swept past the cave entrance, where a simple clothes rack had appeared, along with several irregularly shaped pieces, the stones, and also an open animal hide. She walked over, picked up that pot-like thing, and suddenly a thought popped into her mind. "Egg drop soup." Bai Qi leaned over, his eyes burning brightly. "Want to drink meat soup? Clucker beast meat soup is very delicious." Xiang Qiu glared at him. "I don't want to talk to you." Bai Qi pouted aggrievedly. Qiu, I am a beastman, you are a female. We're supposed to be like this. Who allowed you to call me Qiu? She lifted her leg and kicked him, but ended up hurting so much she gasped sharply, and the pot also fell to the ground. Bai She was startled and hurriedly crouched down to check her calf. "Does it hurt, beast? People are so tough. Next time before you hit me, tell me." Don't hurt yourself, Xiangqiu was. So angry she rolled her eyes. Are you? Made of stone, she suddenly realized maybe this is her fate. She committed sins in her past life. So in this life she came to this wasteland to suffer since she can't escape, then accept it. Bai Qi. I agree to be your female, she blurted out unexpectedly. Bai Qi froze. What? She picked up the pot. Didn't hear then. Forget it. I want to drink egg drop soup. You helped me make it. Bai Qi no longer cared about the soup excitedly. Picked her up and spun her around twice. You agreed, didn't you? Xiangqiu felt dizzy from his spinning and glared at him angrily. You heard wrong. I didn't agree, but Bai Qi didn't care. Directly kissed her on the cheek. I want to hear you say it again. She pushed him away. Shoved the pot into his arms. Go make egg drop soup. If you make me happy, I'll say it again. Bai Qi's eyes lit up. Okay, I'll go make it. Afterwards, Bai Qi found wild vegetable sour valley has arrived. Although the conditions are crude, the taste of the soup was surprisingly good. Qiu started planning in her heart for the days to come since she decided to stay here. Then she needed to properly plan their life. Bai Qi, tomorrow let's go look around nearby, see if there are other useful things, she suggested. Bai Qi raised his head, a flicker of excitement in his eyes. I'll take you. Qiu smiled, suddenly feeling that perhaps this primitive world wasn't so bad after all. At least she was no longer alone, although this beastman was rough. He obeyed her every wish. Perhaps this was her fate. She carried the animal hide back to the cave and began to ponder how to cut it. Although she had never made clothes before, she had at least watched some videos, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Bai Qi sat to the side, concentrating on sharpening a bone needle. His movements were very careful, afraid of breaking the bone. Qiu glanced at him, and a warm feeling suddenly rose in her heart. Bai Qi, how did you live before? She asked casually. Bai Qi lifted his head and thought about it, hunting, eating, sleeping, and occasionally fighting with other beastmen. Qiu couldn't help but laugh. It really was simple. Bai Qi also smiled. Now with you, life is different. A warmth spread through Qiu's heart, and she lowered her head to continue fiddling with the hide. Perhaps this was her new life. By the way, Bai Qi, when you go hunting tomorrow, could you find some flowers for me? She suddenly said. Bai Qi was startled. Flowers? What do you want flowers for? Qiu smiled. For decoration. The cave is too plain. It would look better with some flowers. Bai Qi nodded. Okay, I'll find some for you tomorrow. Qiu smiled with satisfaction, but in her heart, she began to look forward to tomorrow's arrival. Perhaps this primitive world isn't so bad after all. Bai Qi, are you finished sharpening it? She asked. Bai Qi raised the bone needle in his hand. Done, take a look. Qiu took the bone needle, examined it carefully, and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. Very sharp. Bai Qi smiled. That's good. Qiu picked up the animal hide and began to cut it. Although her technique was clumsy, at least she had the tool now, and she felt more confident. Bai Qi sat to the side, quietly watching her, his eyes full of tenderness. As the sky darkened, Bai Qi put down the bone needle, looked up, and asked her, going to wash up? Qiu nodded. Yes, let's finish early and rest early. Bai Qi picked her up and flew towards the river. Qiu squatted by the river, washing her hands and face. But Bai Qi directly took off his animal hide skirt and jumped into the river. So shameless, she cursed inwardly, turning her back to continue washing. Bai Qi revealed half his body in the water, his dark eyes gleaming under the moonlight. Qiu's heart skipped a beat. She said irritably, what? You're really beautiful. He smiled sincerely. Qiu's face flushed. She turned her back and ignored him. Seeing her ignore him, Bai Qi scooped up water and splashed it at her. Qiu got water splashed all over her face, turned her head, and glared at him. Immature. After saying that, she also cupped water to splash back, then laughed and ran away. Bai Qi wiped his face, smiling helplessly. You can't run away. Qiu stood in the distance with her hands on her hips. Serves you right. After Bai Qi finished washing, he wrapped himself in the animal hide skirt, and with one hand holding onto his waist, they flew toward the mountain top. Moonlight bathed the summit. Stars twinkled. Qiu looked up and couldn't help but sigh. So beautiful. Bai Qi stood behind him and asked softly, do you like it? Qiu pretended to be indifferent. It's all right. Bai Qi smiled, not exposing him. Qiu glanced back at him, feeling somewhat surprised. This guy was quite romantic. Bai Qi looked at him, mentally considering whether to try that mountaintop mating the peacock beastman talked about. But seeing his guarded expression, he let it go, returning to the cave. As soon as Qiu lay down, Bai Qi Tried to squeeze up, no, sleep below, he immediately sat up, guarding the stone bed. Bai Qi frowned, you promised me during the day. No ceremony means it doesn't count, Xiangqiu insisted. Bai Qi did not yield. No, Xiangqiu glared at him, if you insist, I'll go sleep outside. Bai Qi immediately shook his head. It's cold outside, I'd rather be cold than sleep with you. Xiangqiu gritted his teeth in anger. Bai Qi sighed and compromised. I'll just hold you to sleep. We won't do what we did during the day, okay? Xiangqiu looked at him suspiciously. Really? Bai Qi nodded. Really? Xiangqiu thought for a moment and reluctantly agreed. Then it's settled, in the future, if I'm unwilling, you can't touch me. Bai Qi nodded. Okay. Xiangqiu relaxed, lying back on the bed. Bai Qi gently held him and asked quietly, Qiu, do you like me? Xiangqiu was taken aback and responded perfunctorily, we've only known each other for a few days, let's talk about it later. Bai Qi smiled, you will like me in the future. Xiangqiu did not reply but felt rather complicated inside. This guy was fierce and intimidating when they first met, but now he's like an honest, simple-minded big boy. Indeed, it is the identity of the female that is the key. Bai Qi kept his word. Every night he only held him. Even if his body reacted, he restrained himself from moving recklessly during the day. He was busy finding him animal skins, hunting prey. After a few days, Xiangqiu's cheeks gradually became fuller. Bai Qi looked at the female he had fattened up, feeling pleased in his heart, holding him at night and unwilling to let go. Xiangqiu also slowly lowered his guard and even began to consider developing a relationship with him. Apart from that environment being a bit poor, this life was almost like a vacation. That day, Xiangqiu sat on a rock outside the cave, sewing a small garment, just about to go back into the cave to try it on, when suddenly a chill ran down his back and from outside the cave came the sound of something heavy hitting the ground. Xiangqiu thought it was Bai Qi returning and hurried out, but saw an unfamiliar alien beast staring coldly at him. His feet felt nailed to the ground. His breath stopped. The alien beast's sharp claws suddenly grabbed at him. He had no time to dodge. His shoulder was fiercely seized and his entire body taken up into the sky. Bai Qi, save me, he screamed desperately, his voice scattering in the wind. The unusual beast flew extremely fast. The mountain cave quickly disappeared from sight. The wind howled as it swept over his body. His shoulder hurt as if it were about to split open. He closed his eyes in despair. Yet a thread of reluctance suddenly welled up in his heart. If he died, would Bai Qi be sad? After who knows how long of flying, the unusual beast finally stopped, throwing him into a dry grass nest beside which were several huge white eggs, each that size of a stool. After putting him down, the beast turned and came back holding a thick, thigh-sized poisonous snake in its mouth. It bit off the snake's head in half, its body in one bite. The remaining half of the snake's body was tossed into the nest. The prolonged flight had caused his shoulder to bleed where it was gripped, and as the wind blew, the blood dried. But the pain remained. Enduring the pain, he slowly got up, supporting himself on the edge of the nest to peek outward. With this look, he nearly fainted. The nest was built atop a tree 50 meters high. Falling would mean certain death. Covering his chest, he slowly sat back down in his original spot, his heart struggling. Jumping down required courage, but staying here also seemed like a dead end. The unusual beast paid no mind to his movements, clearly treating him as reserve food for its young. Xiangqiu huddled in the corner, his heart in turmoil. Should he jump down and fall to his death, still eaten by the little alien beast? Just as he was hesitating, the earth suddenly shook. He stumbled and fell back into the nest. The alien beast also became restless, tilting its head and letting out a piercing shriek. Xiangqiu was too close. His eardrums instantly ruptured, fresh blood flowing from his ears. Out he touched his ears, his hand covered in blood. Despair in his heart. It's over, I'm going deaf. Before he could react, the sky suddenly darkened and a group of alien beasts flew over from the distance. Two of them picked up the nest, carrying him flying far away. He couldn't hear any sound, only seeing the beasts on the ground also fleeing frantically, trees knocked askew by a massive creature. At the same time, Bai Qi returned to the cave and found Xiangqiu was gone. The scent of alien beasts lingering at the cave entrance, his eyes turned crimson, burning with rage. Damn alien beasts. If you dare touch my little mate, I'll wipe out your entire clan. He closed his eyes, trying hard to sense Xiangqiu's presence, but that faint scent quickly disappeared. He gritted his teeth, decided to take a gamble, and flew toward the alien beast nest he had once passed by. Xiangqiu, wait for me. He transformed into his beast form rapidly, streaking across the sky, praying in his heart, please don't let anything happen. The alien beasts flew in steadily. The nest like an out-of-control spinning plate, making Xiangqiu dizzy. Excessive blood loss left him barely able to hold on, his vision blurring. His vision kept blacking out. Suddenly, a strange beast let out a piercing, mournful cry. The nest instantly tilted and Xiangqiu and the little strange beasts plummeted downward together, his eyes wide open, horrified. He stared at the scene below. It was practically a slaughterhouse. A colossal creature was frantically massacring, its enormous, blood-stained maw opening and closing, instantly swallowing a wild beast, a Tyrannosaurus rex. Qiu's mind was in complete chaos. How could there be dinosaurs in this beastman continent? This isn't scientific. Yet fate seemed intent on toying with him. He suddenly landed on the back of a feathered beast. That guy was solely focused on escaping for its life, completely unaware that an extra person had landed on its back. The feathered beast flew neither high nor fast, with the pursuing Tyrannosaurus rex close behind. Its thick, powerful thighs taking heavy strides, its short forelimbs waving in the air, grabbing prey and shoving it into its mouth. Xiangqiu clung desperately to the feathers, even as he was jostled to the point of vomiting. Not daring to let go, the Tyrannosaurus Rex's sharp teeth nearly bit the feathered beast's tail several times, each time narrowly avoided. His arms were already numb, the scenery before his eyes growing increasingly blurry. In his dazed state, he seemed to see a familiar figure flying toward him. Bai Qi, he murmured to himself, a wave of bitterness washing over his heart. If he had known he would die this quickly, he shouldn't have refused him. Before dying, he hadn't even tasted the experience of being a woman. Xiangqiu, a roar of anger seemed to echo within his heart. The ground exploded. He shook his head, his ears still couldn't hear any sound. An illusion. He smiled bitterly, his hand finally loosened weakly. His body was thrown out by the feathered beast. Just when he thought he was doomed, a black, giant dragon flew swiftly over, steadily caught him. Bai Qi, is that you? He touched the familiar cold scales, tears blurring his vision. The dragon beast kept growling lowly. Xiangqiu, don't be afraid, I'm here. He couldn't hear, but could feel its presence. He lay on its back, whispered softly, Bai Qi, let's go quickly. The Tyrannosaurus will eat us. After saying that, he completely fell asleep. Bai Qi breathed a sigh of relief, glanced at the still raging Tyrannosaurus, eyes surging with killing intent. If it weren't for carrying Xiangqiu, he really wanted to rush down and fight that monster to the death. He flew with it towards the territory of these alien beasts, where there were healing blood gold fruits. The alien beasts had long been scared away by the Tyrannosaurus. The blood gold fruits were unguarded. He transformed back into human form, carefully placed Xiangqiu on the ground. Looking at his blood-covered appearance, his heart ached almost to the point of suffocation. He picked a handful of blood gold fruits, gently fed them into his mouth. Xiangqiu, hold on, he whispered softly, eyes full of determination. Although the blood gold fruits don't have the miraculous effects of legend, but their medicinal properties are mild, able to nourish the body, detoxify, enhancing physical constitution, can be considered a universal fruit. Xiangqiu ate 7 or 8 in a row, and his breathing gradually stabilized. The injuries on his body also began to heal. Even his damaged eardrums recovered. Bai Qi stood guard nearby, casually picking up a few trampled beasts to fill his stomach. After a day and a night, Xiangqiu finally woke up, his body already fine. He opened his eyes, saw Bai Qi guarding him, and felt a warmth in his heart. Bai Qi, he threw himself into his embrace, feeling the joy of being alive. Bai Qi was stunned at first, then tightly hugged him. Qiu, I'm sorry, I didn't protect you well. Xiangqiu shook his head. It's not your fault. I was too weak. If you hadn't come to save me, I would have already. Don't say that word, Bai Qi interrupted him, holding him even tighter. Xiangqiu smiled slightly, cupped his face, and gave him a light kiss. Bai Qi, thank you. Bai Qi was stunned for a moment, then passionately kissed his lips. Xiangqiu did not resist, yielding softly in response. Don't rush, let's go back to the cave first. He pushed him away, a blush spreading across his face. Bai Qi's eyes lit up. Qiu, you agree? He nodded. I agree. From now on, you will be my only male. That's great. Bai Qi excitedly picked him up and spun around several times. If not for considering his condition, he would have flown several rounds to vent his excitement. Qiu looked at him, feeling sweetness in his heart. This beastman truly likes him, right? Suddenly, Bai Qi punched and shattered a large stone, his face instantly Turning grave, Kiyu, the leopard beast is back, I'll go deal with it, leopard beast? Xiangqiu was stunned. Are you talking about the Tyrannosaurus? It's so huge. How could you possibly fight it? Bai Qi shook his head. Believe me, I must definitely avenge what happened that day, but it was the beast that caught me. Not the Tyrannosaurus. Xiangqiu grew anxious. Wait here for me, don't move around. Bai Qi transformed back into beast form, flew into the air, looked at him one last time and vanished into the distance. Xiangqiu stomped his foot in anger but had no choice. He sat on a high spot. The surroundings empty and desolate, only a pile of snow crystal fruit remained. He picked one up and took a fierce bite, cursing inwardly. When he returns, I'll definitely give him a good lesson. From afar came the roar of the Tyrannosaurus, and Xiangqiu's heart rose to his throat. What Xiangqiu didn't know was that beastmen never easily retreat unless the opponent is too powerful to resist. Bai Qi was now brimming with fighting spirit. In beastman tradition, males must hunt ferocious beasts and present the teeth or fur to females as proof of their strength. The appearance of a raging beast was practically a godsend. Xiangqiu listened to the distant beast roars, his heart filled with anxiety. He gnawed on a snow crystal fruit, while inwardly cursing Bai Qi. We had perfectly good days to live through, yet you insisted on seeking death. He couldn't stand still, nor could he sit properly. With every roar he heard, his heart clenched a little tighter. As night fell, the sounds of battle in the distance gradually faded, and Xiangqiu's heart sank. He felt restless, pacing back and forth. How was that silly orc doing? Did he win? Or moonlight poured down and his heart grew colder and colder. He forced himself not to let his thoughts run wild. Bai Qi was so strong. He would surely be fine. The night deepened. Xiangqiu leaned against a rock, his gaze fixed steadily on the direction Bai Qi had left. He had finished dozens of snow crystal fruits and his body felt much lighter. But his heart grew heavier and heavier. Finally, in the darkness, a dragon beast covered in blood and grime slowly flew over. Xiangqiu waved excitedly and shouted, Bai Qi, I'm here. Bai Qi didn't speak, gently grasping his animal hide with both claws, carrying him away from the spot. Xiangqiu quietly held onto the beast's claws, feeling Bai Qi's exhaustion. His heart filled with pain. They arrived at the place of the battle. The colossal body of the rampaging beast lay on the ground, already lifeless. Bai Qi set him down and also collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. Gasping for breath, Xiangqiu stroked his dragon horns with heartache. I told you not to fight. Look how tired you are. Bai Qi's eyes were gentle, his voice low. Kiyu. When we become partners, I'll give you the fangs of the beast, okay? Xiangqiu was taken aback, then remembered the beastman's tradition. Males must hunt fierce beasts and present their teeth or pelts to females, proving their strength. So that was the reason. His gaze softened. Okay. I really like your gift. After a pause, he added fiercely, but just this once, no more exceptions. Bai Qi grinned, stretching out his long tongue to gently lick his cheek. He didn't dodge, only wiping his face lightly. When Bai Qi withdrew his tongue, since he had decided to live with him, he would accept everything about him, especially since he treated him so well. Looking at the listless dragon beast, he asked with a pained heart, Bai Qi, are you badly injured? The dragon beast gently shook its horns. No, just too tired. Liar, he glared at him. The deepening night couldn't conceal the blood stains on his body and the fallen scales. Injured so badly, even moving was difficult, yet he still remembered to come pick him up. Xiangqiu rested his head against the base of the dragon horn, not letting him see his reddening eyes. Bai Qi thought he was angry, hurriedly coaxing, really, it's nothing, I'll be fine after resting a bit. Cough. Before he could finish, a mouthful of congealed blood was coughed out. Xiangqiu panicked, sitting up in a fluster. Don't rush. I'm not angry, I just feel sorry for you. Saying this, tears fell uncontrollably. Bai Qi panicked even more. Don't cry. Kiku, don't cry, okay? He sniffled, trying hard to hold back the tears. I won't cry, but you have to honestly tell me how long it will take to recover. Bai Qi, however, laughed, his tone light. Very soon, just a few days. Once I'm healed, I'll be stronger than before. He never expected he could defeat the beast, something no dragon beast had ever achieved. The moment of victory filled him with wild joy. Even though he could collapse at any time, he forced himself to eat the beast's heart, where the most powerful energy was stored. Xiangqiu only cared about his injury. Really, it'll heal in just a few days? Do you need any herbs? I'll go pick them. Bai Qi looked at his anxious expression, feeling warmth in his heart, really wanting to pounce on him right then. But unfortunately, he lacked the strength now. 5 days later, Bai Qi had fully recovered, becoming even more powerful, and finally could push Xiang Qiu down. Returning to the cave, the beastmen immediately took Xiang Qiu hunting, specifically targeting large, plump chickens, wild rabbits, and other small, tender-fleshed beasts. The mountain-like pile of prey made Xiang Qiu laugh and cry. Bai Qi, that's enough. This is enough for me to eat for 7 or 8 days. Bai Qi glanced at the pile of prey and nodded. That's about right. Let's go clean them by the river. 3 lumpy beasts were plucked and gutted, washed inside and out. Returning to the cave, Xiang Qiu alone roasted a gaeta beast, taking small bites of the grilled meat Bai Qi had eaten his fill these past few days and didn't need to eat. Just staring at him with burning intensity, Xiang Qiu dawdled for an hour before finishing the meat. And just as he let out a full burp, Bai Qi moved. He hurriedly said, Bai Qi, I want to go take a bath. Without another word, Bai Qi picked him up and headed straight for the riverbank. Upon reaching the riverbank, his gaze grew even brighter. Xiang Qiu swallowed hard, trying to stall. Go wait. Farther away, Bai Qi chuckled. Qiu, what for? I need to bathe. Can you go farther away, please? Xiang Qiu, hands on hips, glared at him. Bai Qi shook his head. Today I'll bathe you. I want to watch. No, Xiang Qiu pretended to be angry. If you don't leave, sleep outside the cave tonight. Bai Qi backed away pitifully. All right, I'll go wait for you. Xiang Qiu removed the animal hide and went into the water, washing his body and hair with cleansing liquid. His hair was too long, nearly reaching his waist. He grabbed his hair and said to Bai Qi, use your claws to cut it off for me. Bai Qi was stunned. What's wrong? Qiu, why cut your hair? It's too long, it's in the way. Xiang Qiu urged. Hurry. Bai Qi hesitated for a moment, then made a light swipe, and the hair was cut into. Xiang Qiu looked at the severed hair in his hand, thinking to himself, on earth, this hair could sell for 500 or 600. Bai Qi dug a small hole and buried the cut hair. He showed a look of regret, but soon his attention returned to Xiang Qiu. He quickly washed himself, picked him up, and hurried toward the cave. Tonight, he could finally have his wish fulfilled. Hey, what's the rush? Xiang Qiu flusteredly patted him. Nothing you say today will be of any use. Bai Qi excitedly threw him onto the stone slab bed, his eyes flashing with a green light, staring straight at him. Xiang Qiu swallowed hard, wrapping his arms tightly around his knees, feeling uneasy. Can't you be gentler? Bai Qi's Adam's apple bobbed as he suppressed the impulse inside, soothing in a low voice. I can. Qiu, don't be afraid. Before the words faded, his figure had already enveloped him. Don't. Xiang Qiu curled into a ball, shivering. At this moment, any words seemed superfluous. Only the most primitive impulse spread through the air. A few days later, Xiang Qiu leaned against the cave entrance, taking a deep breath of fresh air, sighing inwardly. Long-lost sunlight, that wolf in sheep's clothing. He didn't want to mention him again. No wonder he had hunted so much. Pray it was all prepared for him. For a full 7 days, he hadn't even left the cave. Not even a good night's sleep was within reach. Even in the original host's memories, he had never experienced such prolonged torment. Just then, Bai Qi flew back with freshly washed fruits. Xiang Qiu's face darkened. Bai Qi spoke cautiously. Qiu, I picked some fruits for you. Xiang Qiu snorted coldly. Leave them in the cave. Now take me to wash up. Bath. As soon as he heard bath, Bai Qi's eyes instantly lit up. Xiang Qiu sneered, warning him, if you dare touch me one more time, don't even think about touching me ever again. Bai Qi said pitifully. Qiu, I mean it. Xiang Qiu said with a cold face. Bai Qi had no choice but to nod obediently. Okay. Don't be angry. Xiang Qiu snorted coldly, cursing inwardly. If only he could restrain himself a little, he wouldn't be this angry. Bai Qi diligently carried him toward the river, sweet-talking him the whole way, but couldn't earn a single smile from him. Bai Qi felt delighted inside, savoring the wonderful times of the past few days, and couldn't help getting excited. Again, Xiang Qiu noticed his unusual state and glared at him fiercely, pinching him through this animal hide. Ow, Qiu. Bai Qi looked at him ingratiatingly, gently. Ugh, shameless, Xiang Qiu. Let go, cursing inwardly. This guy's bones are hard everywhere. Bai Qi leaned in. Qiu, if you're angry, just hit me. Xiang Qiu coldly pushed him away. Don't move. Behave. Bai Qi had no choice, so he obediently flew him toward the river bank. As soon as they reached the river bank, Xiang Qiu immediately chased him far away and soaked himself in the water. The warm river water enveloped him, and his weary body finally got some relaxation. He felt so comfortable he almost fell asleep. The tiny fish at his feet swam around, helping to clean him, but before he had. How long had they been soaking when Bai Chi suddenly, with a tense expression, fished him out of the water? What's wrong? Xiang Qiu hurriedly put on his clothes. Bai Chi helped him straighten his garments, his gaze turning toward the depths of the forest. Someone's coming. Where? Xiang Qiu followed his line of sight and saw a wolf, covered in blood, suddenly burst out from the trees. Upon seeing them, a flicker of hope flashed in the wolf's eyes as it ran toward them, letting out a pleading howl from its mouth. Save me! Behind it, two ferocious iron-backed beasts were in close pursuit. Bai Chi placed Xiang Qiu in a safe spot, then turned and charged toward the two iron-backed beasts. The blood-soaked wolf collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, its eyes filled with worry as it watched Bai Chi. It had gone out to hunt but unexpectedly encountered two iron-backed beasts. Nearly losing its life, Bai Chi, with a few moves, twisted and snapped the neck of one iron-backed beast. The wolf's pupils instantly widened. Such a powerful beastman. The black wolf was inwardly shocked. Even the strongest camp sentinel in the tribe might not be able to dispatch an iron-backed beast this quickly. Who is this beastman? Too strong. Its eyes were full of admiration. Beastmen are naturally drawn to strength. Its gaze tightly following Bai Chi, completely failing to notice Xiang Qiu, who was watching it from the side. Bai Chi, however, did notice, his face instantly darkening. He had originally wanted to show off his strength to Xiang Qiu, but instead, Xiang Qiu's gaze was fixed on that half-dead wolf beast, not even looking at him. In his anger, Bai violently twisted off the second ironback beast's head and flew angrily towards Xiang Qiu. Qiu. The tone carried a grievance. Xiang Qiu casually glanced at the ironback beast on the ground and praised, "You're really powerful." Bai Qi's expression softened slightly, but he was still displeased. "What are you staring at that wolf beast for? I know it." Xiang Qiu explained. The black wolf on the ground suddenly exclaimed, "Xiang Qiu, you are Xiang Qiu?" Xiang Qiu nodded, walking towards the black wolf. "It's me, Black Wolf. How did you get so badly injured?" Bai Chi watched the black wolf vigilantly, alarm bells ringing in his heart. This guy couldn't be one of Xiang Qiu's suitors, could he? Sensing the killing intent, the black wolf quickly backed down. "Warrior, thank you for saving my life. I will definitely repay you in the future," Chi said coldly. "No need." Xiang Qiu glanced at Bai Chi, secretly praising him in his heart. "This beastman is quite noble, knowing not to expect repayment for a favor." The black wolf's injuries were severe, its breath weak. Xiang Qiu asked, "Black Wolf, what about your injuries?" Bai Chi immediately shot him an accusatory look, as if to say, "Why are you so concerned about him?" Xiang Qiu didn't understand. "What's wrong?" The black wolf spat out a mouthful of blood, saying weakly, "Xiang Qiu, save me. I'm too badly injured. I can't move. I can only rely on self-healing. Could you feed me for a few days?" "No." Bai Chi refused without hesitation. The black wolf's face turned pale, pleading as it looked at Xiang Qiu. "Xiang Qiu, we are of the same race. The day you disappeared, the clansmen searched for you for a very long time. I'm very happy to see you again." He coughed up another mouthful of blood. Xiang Qiu sighed helplessly. "Catching up can wait." Bai Chi dragged those two ironback beasts over. "Let the black wolf eat something first to stabilize its strength." Bai Chi didn't move, pressing his lips together. "I don't want to give my prey to it." Xiang Qiu frowned. "If you don't feed it, it will die. The black wolf is, after all, my kin. We can't just watch it die, can we?" Bai Chi still didn't move. Xiang Qiu was even more puzzled. "What's wrong with you?" The black wolf was barely holding on and hurriedly explained, "Warrior, I like waiting for me to return. She hasn't agreed to form a bond with me yet. I don't want to die." Bai Chi raised an eyebrow. "You have a female?" The black wolf nodded. "Yes, but she hasn't agreed yet." Only then did Bai Chi reluctantly agree, dragging the ironback beasts in front of the black wolf. The black wolf acted as if it had received a treasure, tearing into them with big bites. Xiang Qiu looked at Bai Chi, then looked at the black wolf and suddenly understood. So Bai Chi was afraid the black wolf would steal from him. That's why he refused to save it. Bai Chi picked up Xiang Qiu and flew away. Xiang Qiu was taken aback. "We're just leaving it like this?" Bai Chi gave a light snort. "Its injuries are too severe. I'll go back and apply some bone powder to it. The wounds will heal faster." Xiang Qiu nodded but inwardly muttered, "Why did this guy suddenly become unhappy?" Returning to the cave, Xiang Qiu observed Bai Qi's expression the whole way but couldn't discern anything. "I didn't notice. Whatever, can't be bothered to guess. Just got them and already snapping at me." Used to him, Bai Qi watched Xiang Qi's indifferent back. Feeling unbearably wronged, could only bury his head and grind bone powder. The leopard beast's bones could speed up wound healing. He quickly ground a bowl of bone powder. I'll be back soon, Bai Qi impulsively shouted. Xiang Qi waved his hand, signaling for him to go, assuredly returning to the river. The black wolf had already stopped eating, lying on the ground resting. Fortunately, during this period, no fierce beasts attacked. When Bai Qi approached, the black wolf slightly lifted its neck, expressing gratitude. Bai Qi didn't say much. Directly grabbed the bone powder without even cleaning the wound and sprinkled it all over the black wolf's body. The black wolf looked baffled at the gray powder on itself, nose twitching. What is this? Bai Qi is tidying up the medicine bottles. Panther beast's leg bone powder. Tomorrow the wound can heal half. Tonight you just stay here overnight. Panther beast's bone powder? Black wolf's eyes are wide open, mouth is wide open. Beast got above. I actually used panther beast's leg bone powder. He has already started planning how to brag when he returns to the tribe. Bai Qi lightly nodded. Panther beast's bones are indeed rare. Black wolf lowered his head with a complex expression. Xiang Qiu not only didn't die after disappearing, but also found such a strong beastman as a partner. If Guo Guo finds out, she will definitely throw a tantrum again. He sighed, muttering to himself, Xiang Qiu, this female is really so willful that it gives people an headache. Bai Qi turned to leave. Black wolf quickly stopped him. Warrior, wait, my name is Bai Qi. Bai Qi corrected. Bai Qi, thank you for saving me. I am Black Wolf. Black Wolf looked at him sincerely. Bai Qi waved his hand. All our beastmen, it's nothing. Black Wolf grinned. If it weren't for you, I would have died long ago. He paused and tentatively asked, how did you and Xiang Qiu meet? Bai Qi's eyes turned cold, and he stared at him vigilantly. I saved him from the river. He now is my female. Black Wolf smiled bitterly. It's our fault. The guard team was negligent, so Xiang Qiu disappeared. Bai Qi snorted coldly. First, a tribe that can't even protect its females still has the face to bring it up. Black Wolf was left speechless, yet, in his heart, he worried for the Grey Wolf. If Kangling knew that Xiang Qiu is still alive, he would probably go mad. It's a pity that Bai Qi is so strong. Where does Kangling have a chance? Bai Qi coldly swept a glance at him. Take care of your injury. I'm leaving. After saying that, he turned and he flew away. Black Wolf blankly watched him disappear. He sighed and lay back on the ground. He has already helped enough. After all, I am a male. I can't even fail to withstand this minor injury in the cave. Xiang Qiu was sleeping soundly. Bai Qi tiptoed to the cave, outside to roast meat, thinking in his heart that these past few days have indeed tired him out. Xiang Qiu slept until evening, stretched lazily, smelled the aroma of grilled meat. Bai Qi brought in the grilled meat, diligently handing it to him. Qiu, try it. Freshly grilled, especially fragrant, he took the meat, eating in large bites. The taste was indeed good. After finishing, Bai Qi passed him a bowl of clear water. The attentive service made him unable to help but smile. Fed and watered, he casually asked, how's Black Wolf? Bai Qi's expression turned grim. Why do you care about him? Xiang Qiu raised an eyebrow. You saved him. Can't I even ask a couple of questions? What's with you today? Are you giving me attitude? Bai Qi was taken aback. Giving you attitude? What's that? He snorted lightly. Means losing your temper at me. Did I provoke you? Bai Qi fell silent for a moment, then said quietly, I didn't. Yes, you did. Today I clearly felt you were unhappy. Why? Xiang Qiu shot him a glance. Bai Qi was blunt. Because you looked at other males. I'm unhappy, huh? Xiang Qiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry, reaching out to pinch his ear. You're way too easily jealous. Just one glance at someone else and you're upset. Bai Qi pressed his lips together, his tone accusatory. It wasn't just one glance. You stared for a really long time. Xiang Qiu was momentarily speechless and said helplessly, I definitely wasn't staring that long. I just found it. I only took a few more glances because he looked familiar and it turned out I really did know him. Bai Qi's expression darkened further. All the beastmen from that tribe treated you badly. Xiang Qiu shrugged, completely unconcerned. Good or bad, it's all got nothing to do with me anymore. From now on, I'll be living with you. He hugged Bai Qi's arm and rested his head against it. Bai Qi felt a warmth in his heart. His body relaxed a bit, allowing him to lean more comfortably. Then Qiu, do you still want to go back to the tribe to take a look? Xiang Qiu shook his head. No. Where you are, my home is. Bai Qi was instantly stunned by these words. The whole beastman was overwhelmingly excited. Qiu, From now on I will definitely protect you well and won't let anyone bully you again. His heart brimming with tenderness had nowhere to release it. So he simply pounced on Xiang Qiu and pinned him down. Xiang Qiu was on the verge of tears. Bai Qi, you bastard, have you forgotten everything I said this morning? A certain beastman played deaf and dumb, continuing to feign ignorance. Early the next morning, Xiang Qiu kicked Bai Qi, get out and go roast meat. This beastman had been at it all night. His waist was almost broken. Bai Qi cheerfully got up to prepare breakfast and took the chance to change the dressing for the black wolf by the river. One more day and you'll be fully recovered. His tone was uncharacteristically gentle. The black wolf said gratefully, thank you for using bone powder to treat my injury. I only saved you because you and Kiki are of the same tribe. Bai Qi said expressionlessly injured. Hurry up and leave, don't disturb us. 3 days later, Black Wolf had fully recovered. He didn't return to the tribe, but instead waited by the river, seeing Bai Qi carrying Xiang Qiu over. He excitedly rushed forward. Bai Qi frowned. Your wounds are healed. Why are you still here? I want to invite you to our tribe, Black Wolf said sincerely. Living in the wild is too dangerous, no need. Bai Qi directly refused. I have my own tribe. Black Wolf turned to Xiang Qiu. Are you really not going back to take a look? Everyone is very worried about you. Xiang Qiu chuckled lightly. Just treat me as already dead. Bai Qi grabbed his hand, his voice low. Don't talk about death. Xiang Qiu winced in pain. Hurriedly corrected himself. Okay, I won't say it anymore in the future. Black Wolf looked at them in surprise. In his memory, Xiang Qiu had always been arrogant towards males, yet now he had become so gentle. The clan leader has already punished those who caused your disappearance. Everyone would be happy if you returned, no need. Xiang Qiu shook his head. My current life is very good. Bai Qi impatiently flexed his wrist. Black Wolf, are you leaving or not? If you don't leave, I won't be polite. Black Wolf had no choice but to leave. Xiang Qiu, following his memory, discovered big fish in the river. Pulled Bai Qi, I want to eat fish. Bai Qi frowned. Fish have many bones, not tasty. Xiang Qiu acted spoiled. Give it a try. Bai Qi jumped into the river and caught several fish. Xiang Qiu squatted down to help scale them but got cut by the fish scales. Bai Qi immediately took his finger into her mouth and the wound instantly healed. Don't touch these things anymore. His tone was stern. Xiang Qiu smiled slightly. I'll leave it all to you to handle. Bai Qi started a fire to grill fish. The aroma filling the air. He took a bite first. No problem, you can eat now. Xiang Qiu took a bite and was surprised to find the fish delicious. The two ate with great relish. Meanwhile, Black Wolf hurried back to the tribe overnight, reporting to the chief. Bok, Xiang Qiu is still alive. His partner Bai Qi saved us. Bok's expression changed drastically upon hearing the name Bai Qi. Early the next morning, he headed straight to the river with Black Wolf. Bai Qi sensed something unusual as soon as he landed. Cautiously looking around, Bok suddenly attacked and Bai Qi quickly placed Xiang Qiu in a tree, then faced Bok in battle. The two fought fiercely. And in the end, Bai Qi pinned Bok to the ground. Black Wolf hurriedly shouted, Bai Qi, don't kill our chief. Bai Qi released his grip. Xiang Qiu watched all of this in confusion, his gaze shifting back and forth between Bai Qi and the chief. The two actually bore a slight resemblance. Bok stared at Bai Qi, suddenly slapped his shoulder and laughed heartily. Good kid. Now you're stronger than your father. Black Wolf widened his eyes. Father? That's right, Bai Qi is my child. Bok nodded. Black Wolf was shocked. Chief, we never knew you had a child. Bai Qi softly called out, Father. Xiang Qiu's heart grew cold. So that's how it was. This is that father who abandoned his wife and young child, hiding away in the tribe to enjoy himself instead. He couldn't help but roll his eyes. Bai Qi, come with father back to the tribe. We have a good talk to have. He laughed heartily. Bai Qi turned to look at Xiang Qiu. Qiu, do you want to go? Xiang Qiu shrugged. If you want to go, I'll go with you. Bai Qi nodded. Father, we'll go back to the tribe with you. He excitedly grabbed the Black Wolf and leapt into the air. Bai Qi picked up Xiang Qiu, following close behind. Along the way, he chattered incessantly, asking about Bai Qi's childhood. Only then did the Black Wolf learn that Bai Qi was the chieftain's child from before he came to the Wudie tribe. Upon arriving at the tribe square, the tribe's people saw the chieftain bring back a strange beastman and Xiang Qiu, and they all gathered around to watch. He loudly announced, this is Bai Qi and he is also my child. The crowd erupted in an uproar, especially Bahi's females, who were utterly shocked. Bahi said excitedly, before I came to the Wudie tribe, I was from the southern Yangda tribe. My partner passed away from illness. And that's why I left. After wandering for 2 years, I came here. Never expecting to be reunited with my child, he threw his head back and let out a long howl. Deafeningly loud, and the tribe's people followed with cheers and roars, beastly cries echoing across the square. Xiangqiu covered his ears, cursing inwardly. These beastmen are truly insane. Xiangqiu, with his human mindset, really couldn't stand this deafening roar sound, so simply cover the fears and escape this calamity. Bai Qi, originally infected by the atmosphere, had a slight smile at the corner of his mouth, but then discovered his own little female covering her ears. With a pained expression, he frowned, suddenly roaring at the beastmen in the square. All of you shut up. This roar was deeper and more powerful than Bok's. Females fainted one after another, cubs were shaken and stumbled about the beast. Men instantly fell silent, looking at him in terror. Bai Qi, however, completely ignored everyone, bowing his head to ask with concern, Qiu, are you okay? Qiu was shaken until dizzy and disoriented, glaring at him irritably. Can't you lower your voice? My ears are about to burst. Bai Qi lowered his voice apologetically. Sorry, next time I'll be careful, they were too noisy. He touched his ears. Fortunately they weren't bleeding, but he completely didn't realize that after consuming the blood essence fruit, his constitution had long been different from before. Only then did the beastmen react, quickly looking toward their own females. Some fainted, some bled. The scene was utter chaos. Quick, save them. The black wolf picked up Burguer and sprinted away. Bok's temple veins throbbed, glared at his son, and hurriedly called for the clansmen to send the females for treatment. What was supposed to be a perfect welcome gathering forcibly turned into a scene of injured females. The beastmen were heartbroken. After all, females were extremely precious. Stop all this commotion, Bok shouted to halt. It was my negligence regarding the roar towards the harm caused by the female. Bai Qi is at fault, but everyone bears responsibility. With a wave of his hand, he declared a clan-wide feast tonight. Bai Qi, tomorrow, hunt several large beasts to apologize to the females. Only then did the beastmen settle down, dispersing one after another. Bok took Bai Qi and Xiangqiu back to their residence. Bai Qi noticed a male with a scar on his face casting a hostile gaze, and just as he wanted to inquire, Bok patted him, saying, causing trouble on the very first day. Hurry up and leave. Xiangqiu held Bai Qi's hand, thinking to himself, those females who once mocked him are truly pitiful today. The road was littered with stones, and Xiangqiu's feet kept stepping on them. Feeling extremely uncomfortable, he looked down at the beastmen's bare feet and noticed they walked on sharp stones without issue. No reaction. They could even crush stones underfoot. The corner of his mouth twitched. These guys' souls were really too thick. Suddenly, inspiration struck him. Bai Qi, with so many stones in the tribe, why not let the beastmen revert to their beast forms and flatten the paths frequently walked by the females? Wouldn't that spare their feet? Bok turned back, a flicker of appreciation flashing in his eyes. Not bad, that's a good idea. The females in the tribe often complained about foot pain from walking. This problem had long been unsolved. Never expected Xiangqiu to come up with a solution. In a few days, I'll find some bear beasts to crush all the stones. As he spoke, he specifically stamped on a few stones, finding it quite interesting. Let's get going. Bok put away his playful mood, leading the group to continue forward. Arriving at the chief's cave, it was spacious and bright. The stone bed large enough to sleep for, and it had the most complete assortment of items in the tribe. Aisha and Emma had already tidied up the cave. Seeing them enter, they hurriedly greeted them and invited them to sit. Emma handed Xiangqiu a few fruits, saying gently, child, you've been missing for so long. You've worried everyone sick. Xiangqiu accepted the fruits, apologetically saying, sorry to have worried you. Emma smiled and shook her head. Xiangqiu, are you planning to form a bond with Bai Qi? Xiangqiu nodded. Bai Qi is already my male. Hearing this, Bai Qi's mouth corners lifted high. Bok stood up. In a few days it will be the yellow moon season. I'll hold the bonding ceremony for you then. Bai Qi readily accepted. Thank you, father. Xiangqiu also had no objections. After all, having a ceremony is better. At least it is recognized by the beast god. Bok nodded satisfactorily, suddenly suggesting, I'll take you to pick a good cave. Bai Qi quickly stopped him. Father, we don't plan to live in the tribe. Bok frowned. If not here, then where? The rainy season is almost here. It's not safe in the wild, Bai Qi explained. We have a cave by the river. Its location is hidden. It's quite good. Xiangqiu also agreed. We don't want to come back to live in the tribe. Ba still insisted. After the rainy season comes the beast tide. You are in too much danger in the wild. Bai Chi remained silent for a moment. Father, let's discuss this after we go back. Bok grew anxious. You don't plan to take him back to the Evereth tribe, do you? Bai Chi tacitly agreed. Bok sighed, his tone weathered. Child, I've only just met you. Won't you spend more time with me? Xiangqiu rolled his eyes inwardly. Where were you all this time? Bai Chi looked at Xiangqiu with difficulty and said softly, let's discuss it when we go back. We won't stay here tonight. Bai Chi nodded. Ba sighed helplessly. I can't manage you young people anymore. Aisha mediated. Today is a good day, Xiang. Qiu has returned safely and you've found your son. Shouldn't you be happy? Bok wiped his face and smiled again. Haha. You're right, tonight everyone can eat too, their hearts content. Just as they were speaking, the hunting team returned, roars erupted in the square and the barbecue could begin. Bok's eyes lit up. Come, let's go get the meat. Xiangqiu had just sat down, hadn't even warmed the seat. When Bai Chi suggested, Qiu, let me carry you, Xiangqiu shook his head. No, so many people are watching, how embarrassing. Bai Chi didn't listen, simply picked him up sideways. You are my female, who would dare gossip? Xiangqiu struggled. Put me down. Bai Chi carried Xiangqiu, striding toward the square and seeing the beastman on the square looking uneasy, he couldn't help but frown. A middle-aged beastman put down his prey and anxiously ran toward Wu Yi's cave. My Yaya has fainted. Other beastmen with partners also hurried toward Wu Yi's cave. The rest chattered among themselves. Yin Xiao hurriedly ran back to the cave. Seeing Chui safe and sound, he sighed in relief. Luckily you didn't go to the square, Mao. Xiao Chui was puzzled. What happened? Brother Yin Xiao briefly explained. The clan leader brought back his son and Xiangqiu. Something happened on the square. Come on, let's go eat barbecue. He picked up Chui and walked toward the square. Mao Xiao Chui spotted Xiangqiu in this crowd at a glance and froze for a moment. He seemed even more beautiful than before with soft short hair, well-fitting animal hide clothes, completely different from the other females in the tribe. With Yin Xiao also stared, dumbly murmuring, Xiang Qiu has become even more beautiful. Bai Qi's face darkened and he coldly shouted, if you keep looking, I'll gouge your eyes out. Xiangqiu hid behind him, silently cursing in her heart, these beastmen who've never seen the world. A beastman shouted unwillingly, Xiangqiu is our tribe's female. If you haven't mated, we have the right to pursue her. Bai Chi narrowed his eyes. What did you say? Several beastmen stepped forward. We challenge you. Bai Chi sneered. Come at me all together. After today, who would dare stare at my female again? I'll beat them up every time. The beastmen grew furious, one after another standing opposite him, preparing to teach him a lesson. The observing beastmen voluntarily stepped back, forming a circle, eagerly preparing to watch the excitement. Xiangqiu frowned. Why fight again? Bok stood in the crowd, smiling as he crossed his arms. An adult male who doesn't fight a few times over a female. What kind of male is he? 30 to 50 beastmen rubbed their hands. A muscular beastman stepped forward. You pick one for a single fight. Don't think, just because you're the chief's cub, we'll go easy on you. Bai Chi stood with his hands behind his back, coldly saying, I said, all together. The beastman sneered. All together, you're probably going to get beaten until your butt's in bloom, then lose all face in front of the female. Bai Qi's pupils narrowed, killing intent suddenly flashing. Who? Defeat is not yet certain. His momentum exploded instantly. The beastmen opposite couldn't help but withdraw their scornful hearts. Kangling sneered, brothers, let's go. Bai Chi, utterly fearless, met the fist coming at his face. Bang, two fists collided. Bai Chi didn't move an inch, while the opponent was shaken back several steps, face flushing red. The scene instantly fell silent. Then the beastmen no longer held back, attacking with full strength. Dozens of beastmen brawled, fists clashing with fists, dust flying, killing intent splashing everywhere. Yin Xiao pulled Chui back, avoiding the swirling dust. The sound of fists meeting flesh rang out continuously within the dust. Beastmen were occasionally thrown out, but they quickly charged back in. The fight lasted over half an hour. When the elder beastmen arrived, they saw only Bai Chi still standing within the dust, his face bruised and swollen. Yet he remained upright, his gaze fiercely sweeping the surroundings. Who else? The beastmen's mouths twitched. Dozens against one and they still lost. For them to go up would just be cannon fodder. Baha laughed heartily, face full of pride. Bai Chi is very strong. Dragon beasts are inherently formidable. The defeated beastmen hung their heads in silence, overwhelmed with shame. Xiangqiu pushed through the crowd, pulled Bai Chi, and left, saying irritably, showing off. You just love to show off. Bai Chi, puzzled. Kiku Am I amazing? Xiangqiu glared at him. You're amazing. You're amazing enough to reach the heavens. Bai Qi scratched his head. I really can reach the heavens, though. Xiangqiu was speechless. Say less. Bai Qi obediently shut up mouth, letting him pull her as he walked towards the river. Qiu dragged Bai Qi away. Bok awkwardly coughed once. Ignore him. Men dividing the meat. The beastmen quickly restored the lively atmosphere. Silver Roar went to queue up. Mao Shaoqui gazed at Xiangqiu's back, her eyes glimmering with a trace of envy. That beastman is really strong. By the riverside, Xiangqiu stood with hands on hips, educating Bai Qi. Don't be so showy in the future, understand? Showy? Bai Qi wore a look of confusion. Xiangqiu sighed. It's like your behavior today. You should just know your own strength, no need to show off. Now everyone knows how powerful you are. Bai Qi scratched his head. Isn't it good that they know? No one would dare to plot against you. Xiangqiu was speechless. Forget it, we'll talk back home. For now, you give. I am washed clean. Bai Qi, without a word, took off his animal skin skirt and jumped into the river. Qiu face-palmed and turned her back. This guy really has no shame. After tidying up, the two returned to the square. The meat had already been divided, and the beastmen were enthusiastically roasting meat over fires. Bai Qi, holding Xiangqiu's hand, walked over, and the square fell silent for 2 seconds before the noise resumed. The females kept their distance from Bai Qi, their eyes complex as they stared at Xiangqiu, feeling both angry and jealous. This bad female was too lucky. Bok's mood was complicated as he called out, Bai Qi, meat has been saved for you two. Come roast. Over here. Aisha and Emma were starting a fire with a large pile of meat beside them. Bai Qi pulled Xiangqiu down to sit, casually laying a leaf for her to sit on. This considerate act left the other beastmen dumbfounded. A beastman who fought so fiercely could actually be so attentive. The younger females were even more displeased, wondering why this bad female Xiangqiu deserved such good fortune. First there was Yin Xiao, and now an even stronger one. Guo Guo and Yaya marched straight up to block Xiangqiu. Guo Guo placed her hands on her hips and said, Xiangqiu, you ran off without a word and made everyone search for you for a long time. Do you know that? Xiangqiu shrugged lazily. I didn't know. But since none of you welcome me, my disappearing should be exactly what you wanted. Bok frowned. Xiangqiu, the tribe cares about you. I've already punished the guards for their mistake. Guo Guo muttered, but he's the one who ran off on his own. Yaya patted Guo Gu's arm, turned her head and asked Xiangqiu, is Bai Qi your male? Xiangqiu curled her lips into a smile, leaning Bai Qi's shoulders. Obviously, a flash of jealousy passed through Yaya's eyes, and she directly said to Bai Qi, Xiangqiu is not a good woman. Don't be fooled by her appearance. Bai Qi frowned. Aisha and Emma immediately spoke up. Don't talk about Xiangqiu like that. Yaya snorted in grievance. It's true, Emma, you can't favor him. Qiu was dismissive and asked with a smile, then tell me, what's bad about me? Guo immediately chimed in. You made your father go on an adventure. Caused him to have an accident. Isn't that bad? Yaya also backed him up. Exactly. You don't know how to do anything. Your mother died of illness because you couldn't take care of her. You're lazy and have a bad temper. That's why Silver Roar doesn't like you either. Silver Roar? Bai Qi frowned as he looked toward Xiangqiu. Musiu Xioi also looked at Silver Roar in surprise. Hyung Shou held his forehead. Hey, why is the focus on Silver Roar? Pak Hai asked coldly. Who is Silver Roar? Guok sneered. Silver Roar used to be Hyung Shou's guardian beastman, but now he has Xioi, so he no longer likes him. Musiu Xioi blushed and asked Silver Roar softly, Brother Silver Roar, is it true? Silver Roar hurriedly explained, I only like you now. Later I will ask the clan leader to arrange the mating ceremony, okay? Musiu Xioi nodded shyly, but her eyes were still fixed on the clan leader, thinking to herself. So Hyung Shou was involved with Silver Roar. Pak Hai sighed in relief. As long as no one bothers his female, it's fine. Aisha and Emma's faces darkened. Yeah, Guer, enough, don't say anymore. Xiangqiu's father's death was an accident, and his mother's passing had nothing to do with him either. Now Xiangqiu has Bai Qi and Yin Xiao has Chue. Isn't that just fine? Yaya was so angry her eyes rimmed red. You all just are siding with him. Xiangqiu stared at them coldly. You want everyone to blame me and then drive me out. Bai She held him close, heart aching. Qiu, blame me? If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have to come back and suffer this anger. After speaking, his gaze sharp as knives swept over Yaya, Guer, and the silent tribespeople, finally landing on Bok's face. Father, Seeing you I am relieved. From now on we need not meet. He took Xiangqiu's hand and was about to leave. The tribespeople were stunned. Bok grew anxious. What nonsense are you talking? He turned and roared at Ya Ya and Gur Gur. You are females, I usually can't bear to be harsh with you, but you are really too unreasonable. You grew up with Xiangqiu. Why must you drive him out of the tribe? Ya Ya and turned pale with fright, shrinking into their respective father's arms, not daring to make a sound. Their parents hurriedly apologized. Chief, don't be angry, they're ignorant. We will discipline them properly when we return. Bok's face darkened. Today, before all the tribe's people, I want to get this clear. Xiangqiu. His father picked the blood crystal fruit and had an accident. No one wanted this to happen. His mother also left. As clansmen, why don't you care more about him? He turned his gaze to Yin Xiao and Yin Xiao as a male. You violated the contract of the guardian beastman. Xiangqiu is somewhat willful, but this is not a reason for you to abandon him. Bok knew in his heart that Xiangqiu was spoiled, but now he is the female of his own child. He must protect him. After these words were spoken, the clansmen and Yin Xiao all lowered their heads in shame. Think carefully. Has Xiangqiu really committed an unforgivable mistake? No. He hasn't. Then why does everyone dislike him so much? The females lowered their heads in shame while the beastmen were confused. Yes. Females have always been willful. Why listen to Gur Gur and the others? Give up pursuing Xiangqiu and let the child of this outsider chieftain take advantage. Xiangqiu swept a cold glance over the silent crowd. In the end, it was just because of jealousy that even they themselves couldn't explain, and the beastmen were just blindly following. Bok shook his head in disappointment. You have all disappointed me so much. Other tribes treasure females. You, on the other hand. Yin Xiao, full of guilt, walked towards Xiangqiu, knelt on one knee, right hand pounding his chest. I'm sorry, Xiangqiu. Please forgive me for dissolving the contract of the guardian beastman. It was I who didn't. Xiangqiu directly interrupted. I forgive you. Silver Roar was stunned. Autumn repeated. I said I forgive you, and I even want to thank you. If you hadn't given up, I wouldn't have met my White Rise. White Rise's mouth lifted at the corner, the hostility in his heart towards Silver Roar lessening a bit. Did you hear? Clearly, my Autumn doesn't like you at all. Go back and live well with your current female, a fickle-hearted beast. Man will be punished by the beast god. Silver Roar had nothing to say. He took Miyakui's hand and walked towards Bok. Chief, please hold the mate bonding ceremony for us. Bok raised his eyebrows. Are you sure? Silver Roar said firmly. Yes, I like Chue and Chue likes me too. We have reached the age for bonding. Bok looked at Miyaokui, who nodded with a red face. I'm willing. Good. Bok nodded. On the day the yellow roses bloom, we will hold your mate bonding ceremony. Oh. White Rise and Autumn will join together that day too. Autumn, however, shook his head. Chief, let's not. The tribe doesn't welcome us. We won't hold the ceremony in the Wuda tribe. White Rise agreed. Sorry, father. I don't like this place either. Bok frowned, wanting to say more. But White Rise had already spread his wings and picked up Autumn. I was very happy to see you today, father, but it's getting late. We should go back now. Aisha hurriedly called out. You haven't eaten the roasted meat yet, White? He shook his head. Not eating anymore. Our cave lacks nothing. Today, I am very sorry for causing the female to get injured. Tomorrow, I will abide by father's punishment. Before the words even fell, he had already flown far away, holding Xiangqiu, leaving behind a crowd of surprised clansmen. Being able to fly without using beast form. This race is too powerful, isn't it? Aisha sighed. Have we been too harsh on Xiangqiu? He just lost his parents. And the clan doesn't treat him well either. Guo Guo cried and said it's all my fault. I shouldn't have said that about him. Guo Guo's father comforted, saying don't cry. Tomorrow we'll go find Xiangqiu and bring him back. After returning to the cave, Xiangqiu wanted to discuss the future with Bai Qi, but Bai Qi looked wronged. You didn't tell me. You have a guardian beastman. Xiangqiu helplessly rubbed his forehead. Isn't that matter in the past now? Yin Xiao stopped liking me long ago. Bai Qi frowned. Kikyu, you are the best. He is the one who wronged you. While feeling relieved that Yin Xiao doesn't like Xiangqiu, he also thought the other was blind. Xiangqiu is so good. How dare he not like him? Xiangqiu couldn't be bothered to deal with him, got up and took a fruit to munch on. I never formed a bond with him. So there's no talk of who wronged whom. We live our lives. It has nothing to do with them. Bai Qi nodded vigorously. Right? He suddenly asked. Then did he ever take advantage of you before? His tone carried a hint of menace. Xiangqiu shook his head. No, my father. When I'm around, never let Ying Xiao get close to me. Only then did Bai Chi let out a sigh of relief. That's good, Q. From now on, you can only have me as your male. He reached out and pinched his face. Got it. Big Vinegar King, he openly admitted. Yes, I am jealous. Xiang Qiu sighed helplessly. So what? Bai Chi said with a straight face. So you have to quickly give me a little cub. We need to beat Ying Xiao to it to prove that I'm stronger than him. Xiang Qiu gave him a smiling without warmth in his eyes as he looked at him. 10,000 grass mud horses stampeded through his heart, yet the orc's seriousness left him with no choice but to obediently lie flat. The next day, Bai Chi brought back 5 fierce beasts. As an apology to the tribe, Bok forced a smile and said, You've worked hard. Would you like to go to my cave for a drink of water? Bai Chi shook his head. Qiu is alone in the cave. I'm not at ease. Guoguo's father and Yaya's father quickly stepped forward. Bai Chi, please bring Xiang Qiu back. We want to apologize to him. Bai Chi nodded coldly. I'll convey the message. But whether he's willing to come back, I don't know. Returning to the cave, Xiang Qiu was already awake. Bai Chi kissed his forehead. I'll go roast meat for you. After finishing the roasted meat, Bai Chi suggested. Qiu, do you want to go back and accept the tribe's apology? Xiang Qiu remained silent for a moment, then nodded. I can go back. But what if your father insists on us staying? What do you think? Bai Chi pondered. The rainy season is approaching. We cannot stay alone in the wild. It's too dangerous. Either we set off back to the warriors now. Tribes, either temporarily staying in the Wuda tribe. Xiang Qiu sighed. Let's go to the Wuda tribe first and take a look. The two arrived at the Wu Da tribe, where the clanspeople had just finished distributing meat, and the square was filled with joy upon seeing Xiang Qiu and Bai Chi. The clanspeople erupted into a burst of warm cheers. Guer, holding Ya, ran up to Xiang Qiu, mustering up the courage to shout, Xiang Qiu, it was our fault, please forgive us. Other beastmen also called out one after another. Xiang Qiu, we never thought of driving you away. It was because we didn't care enough about you before. Can you forgive us? Xiang Qiu froze in place, his eyes uncontrollably turning red. That wasn't his emotion. Aisha and Emma stood beside Bok, smiling as she looked at him. Her eyes were full of encouragement. Guoguo timidly gazed at him with sincere apology in her eyes. Xiang Qiu understood clearly in his heart this girl was just a silly one. He took a deep breath, yielded to that emotion that did not belong to him, showed a smile and said loudly, I accept your apology and I hope you will accept me too. I was too willful before and caused you all a lot of trouble. I hope everyone forgets that immature me. After hearing this, the tribe's people all showed relieved smiles. They could tell Xiang Qiu had changed. His temper had improved. Guoguo's eyes reddened. Can we still play together in the future? Xiang Qiu nodded. Yes, Bok laughed heartily. That's more like it. Everyone in our tribes beastman is fine. Whoever makes a mistake apologizes, and the matter is over. If anyone speaks ill of Xiang Qiu again in the future, don't blame me for throwing punches. The tribe's people responded in unison. We agree, Bok shouted. Then what are we waiting for? Start roasting the meat. Tonight, we celebrate. Xiang Qiu only felt a lightness throughout his body, as if something had completely left him. He looked up toward the void, his heart perfectly calm.